Hello everyone, welcome back with me, Wika Mladini, as an English education student. Hope you are all doing well today. And in this video, I'd like to share what I have learned during the second half in the semester, which is in my Teaching English Swing Learner or TEYL class. I'm going to talk about the principle of EYL, teaching methods, how to teach different language skills, the use of games, songs, and stories, and finally some uses of the EYL in Indonesia. So let's get started. Okay, first let's talk about the principle of teaching English to young learners. One thing that I learned is that teaching children is very different from Uh, teaching adults. Young learners have a lot of energy. They can bored easily and they can enjoy learning through fun activities. Because of that, teachers need to create a learning environment that is enjoyable, meaningful, and interactive. Children also learn best by doing. Instead of only listening to explanation, they understand better when they are involved in activities such as playing games, singing songs, uh, playing activities, drawing, or working with their friends. And another important in principle is giving positive encouragement young learners because young learners need appreciation and it helps them become more confident and motivated to use English without being afraid of making mistakes. And now let's move on teaching methods. There are many methods that learners can be used in TYL. The two of the most common are communicative language teaching and total physical response or TPR. Okay, communicative language teaching focus on helping students use English in real communication instead of only memorizing grammar rules. Meanwhile, TPR encourages students to respond or interaction through physical movements. For example, when the teacher says, stand up, open your book, or touch your head, students simply perform the action. And in my opinion, TPR is very suitable for young learner because children naturally enjoy moving around while learning. And as a teacher, we also need to be flexible because every class has different characteristics and we need to combine several teaching methods. Next, let's talk about teaching the four language skills. The first one is for listening. Teachers can use songs, videos, or short stories with simple language. These activities help children become familiar with English sounds and pronunciation. And for the second one is for speaking. Students should be encouraged to communicate without worrying too much about making mistakes, like simple conversations, role plays, and question and answer activities are great ways to build their confidence. And the second one is for speaking. Students should be encouraged to communicate without worrying too much with making mistakes. Sim- And for the second one, the second one is for speaking. Students should be encouraged to communicate without worrying too much about making mistakes. Like, uh, s- for the second one is for speaking. Students should be encouraged to communicate without worrying too much about making mistakes, like simple conversations, role plays, and question and answer activities are great ways to build their confidence. And for reading, teachers should begin with short text, pictures, books, or simple vocabulary. Pictures can help children understand the meaning the meaning tasks more easily. And lastly, for writing, students can start with simple activities like tracing letters, completing words, or writing short sentences before moving to more difficult tasks. And another interesting topic that we learn is using games, songs, and stories in teaching. Games are not only fun, but they also encourage students' motivation and participation. Through games, children can practice vocabulary or simple conversations without feeling pressure. Songs are also very effective because children love repetitions. They can improve pronunciations, listening skills, and vocabulary while enjoying the music. And stories are equally important because they introduce new vocabulary and expressions in meaningful contexts. And teachers can make storytelling more interesting by using pictures, puppets, or different voice expressions. So, learning English doesn't always have to come from textbooks. Fun activities can actually make learning more meaningful for young learner or for children. And finally, I'd like to talk about some issues of the EYL in Indonesia. One of the main issues is policy and curriculum inconsistency. Since English is not always a compulsory subject in primary schools, each schools may have different policies and starting point for teaching English. This means students often have different levels of English proficiency. The second issue is teachers' competency and professional training. Not every primary school has a qualified English teachers, and some teachers still have limited opportunities to receive specific training in teaching young learners. And another challenge is limited learning research and school facilities. Some schools have limited teaching media, large size, or inadequate classroom facilities, making it more difficult to create interactive learning activities. We also learned about learning center challenge. Young learners have different learning styles, motivation levels, and English background. Some children are also shy about speaking English, so teachers need to create a supportive classroom environment. And lastly, there are challenges in instructional design. Although many teachers understand that children learn best through communicative and interactive activities, some classrooms still rely on memorization because of limited class time and other classroom constraints. And personally, I think improving the EYL is not only about changing the curriculum, it also requires better teachers training, adequate learning research, and teaching method that truly meet children learning needs. And after learning all these topics, I realized that teaching English to young learners is much more challenging than I first thought. Even though the English materials may look simple, teaching children requires creativity, patience, and good classroom management. This course has helped me understand that being a good teacher is not just about explaining the lesson, but also about creating a positive learning experience where children feel happy, confident, and motivated to learn English. And I believe the knowledge is that I gain from this course will be very useful for my future teaching practice. To conclude, teaching English to young learners requires teachers to understand children's characteristics, use appropriate teaching methods, and create engaging learning activities through games, songs, and stories. Also, there are still several challenges in Indonesia, and I believe that with creativity teachers and continuous improvement, English learning for young learners can become more effective and enjoyable. And that's all from my vlog. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I hope you have a wonderful day. See you. Bye bye.